Okay, so I'm back with Pasha. Hello.
Hello, guys.
And this is like attempt number 3 or something like that, because the last one didn't work out so well. Real quick, I suppose you can just introduce yourself, like explain what you do generally.
Sure. As you know, my name's Pasha. I'm working as a game designer on Mech, and I specifically do content. Yeah, weapons and mechs. I'm not the only one who does it, but one of the couple of guys who does content.
So, like
And
creating
thanks
and
for
balancing mechs, weapons.
yeah. From the idea from scratch and up until it ends up on your smartphones in the game. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Hopefully, I can give some answers.
Well, you can
Rob,
definitely
Rob?
give some answers, but let's hope that people actually are okay with them.
I'm not responsible for the people to be okay with them, but I will give
No, that
answers.
makes me responsible. You should do it. Since you are responsible essentially for like balancing stuff, what do you
Mhm.
think of the current balance in the game? What would you rebalance if you could, or do you plan to rebalance anything?
Uh-huh. As for the current balance in the game, I feel like it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yeah.
It needs some work to be done, and we know what needs to be fixed. Revokers, I'm looking at you. Uh, because they're the outliers. I mean, like, probably it's not the only thing that needs changes, but it's definitely the first one that comes to mind. And I think that both players and we're a little bit tired of its dominance. So if I'd have to do this, that would be our first candidate to like for the upcoming changes. Um, as for the are we planning to do it? We are currently working on the thing to influence the meta in some way, and it would be something closer to a process or the system, not the like direct changes to this or that weapon, and that's it. We're thinking of can we create a system that will like be floating the weapons up and down from season to season, probably. And I think that it would be more like interesting, more challenging, probably. I mean, challenging, not hard, but to think of what to choose. The wider will be the meta, like imagine that not the reworkers are not the like the only one dominant weapon in the game, but if you have like 15 weapons like that, so you'll need to choose to change your hangers, and the next season the situation might change in these 15 weapons. Let's say, I know probably there like be more to the existing ones or some will drop back. So we're thinking of how to organize this thing, and it is not yet like completely approved. So we'll see if we manage to pull it off. Then I guess it will be a really nice thing to have. So
So
yeah, we're basically thinking of it not like of the let's nerf rewalkers or
right.
let's up miniguns, but of something like more wide. That's why we call it the wide map.
So like, so not like a nerf or a buff, not like an actual rebalance, but more of like a feature change similar to like mods, where it's like something that you add to the game that.
No, not exactly. It would not be a feature. It would more likely look like a systematic rebalance, probably. The system that will like include the changes, probably connected to the seasons. So when the new season comes out, you'll see that some weapons change their positions in the meta. Probably something
System.
like that.
Yeah, let's see. I'm not really sure what that would entail. I mean, obviously, you can only say so much, so I'm not gonna like hard press you on that. But it sounds kind of like modifiers, to be honest.
Um, let's say
Let's say
I
I'm pretty
can tell you
close.
more.
We'll leave it at that then. We'll leave it at that
Yeah,
then.
well, let's leave it at
But
that.
One thing that I've been curious about, and it's like I understand why you don't, let's say, nerf Revoker. I understand why you don't want to nerf it because it just makes people upset, and if you can avoid it, then it's nice to avoid it. But one thing I guess I've never really understood too much is like why not buff the things that you know that are doing really bad. There are clearly some things that don't do really well, legendary items even that don't do well in any stage of the game.
Exactly, but as long as we didn't touch like the balance after the release, like for such a long time, it was also like a question. So, I mean, we can just buff everything up to the Revoker's level because the time to kill will like change significantly, and that will be like completely different game.
Well, Revoker's not the standard. Revoker is the outlier, the exception.
The outlier, right? Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think making more. I think part of the thing is like, well, a lot of the reason that like you get the current Revoker and Stormrack meta, those are the two weapons that everybody uses. But like the reason that you get like such a dominance with those is largely, I would say, because there's no decent options to combat them in the form of like mechs and other mechs and other weapons. So I think like
that's true as well.
Even just like something like a bastion, if it was a little bit stronger, could actually be extremely viable. It wouldn't be like the best mech in the game, absolutely not. But it would be extremely valuable. But I think, like, you know, a little bit of a buff could make it, you know, it still shifts the meta, right? You're not buffing Bastion up to Surge level, but you're adding more things to the pool of things that are reasonably viable, and that just by default changes up the meta because you have more options and there's more like natural.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're thinking of when designing this like wide meta thing. Some of the not so popular weapons will be buffed probably.
That was always the thing that I figured like you should start with. You never know how the meta is going to change after you do that. And then from there, you can decide to do whatever else after.
Yeah, so probably there's one more lesson ahead to learn for us, and I mean, I'm up to it, but let's see if it passes through all the approval stages and.
Right. Not just your decision. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Just for notice, I'm not owning Mech Arena, just a game designer.
Yeah, guys, everybody in the comments is gonna blame him for every single bad match you've ever had. Yeah. He's not responsible for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the topic of like mechs and weapons, what does the creation process look like? Like, I guess, do you start with like an idea of like, this is what we want something to do, and this is like the function that we want it to serve, like the unique purpose that we want it to have, or do you just have like a general concept and you're like, okay, how can we make this effective, generally effective?
It might be either of those, I would say, because sometimes we design something specifically to like be a part of or counter the existing meta. We have a couple of the ideas on the table right now. The only thing that I'm afraid of is that when they're released, not so many players have them during some time. And that's kind of not really good. But the whole idea is, yeah, we have some. Sometimes we design some specific mechs or weapons to counter the existing meta. Sometimes we just have a really cool idea that, in our opinion, might be played like very well, feel enjoyable for players, and
has potential.
Has potential to bring some nice gameplay scenarios and stuff like that. So, as an example for that, I thought of the Silver Thorn is in prod right now, right? We called it Knife on the pre-production stages as a working name because it just has 5 knives and it was easier to pronounce that. So I was I created it just while I was brushing my teeth in the morning, and I was like, I played probably the first Descendant game recently, and there was the girl who with the knives, and I was like, well, we have to do something similar to that, a mech with knives. And our main reference for that were like it's not like we take something from the first Descendant, bring it to Mech Arena, and call it Silverthorn, and now you go
Right.
play with it. So among the reference there were the Magneto from Marvel Universe,
Mhm.
the Shredder from TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles,
yeah.
some other things that have that knives shooting and probably coming back. Oh, the Irelia from League of Legends. So we gathered that mood board. We thought of how it can be played, how to implement this to Mech Arena, and we found out that the mechanic like plays really nice and enjoyable, and that's how it appeared in the game.
My
Hmm.
personal thoughts on Silverthorn is that it's kind of terrible. And the reason that the reason that I say this, the
Well,
reason
at
that I
least
say
you're
this,
being honest. That's
yeah,
nice.
well, yeah. But the reason that I say this is like compare it to, let's say, Onyx. It has less damage, 60,000 maximum damage, that only
Yeah.
gets triggered if you build it up. It's not effective against any type of shields or any type of mods, same as Onyx. So, like Onyx, you have the same problem. Except Onyx, you can use the radius to deal back damage to the enemy. For Silverthorn, you can't. And they have the same range. Silverthorn has a little bit less damage, but it's similar damage. But it's also on, what is it, like a 3.5 second delay. So it's just like
Hmm.
overall, I see that ability as just incredibly weak, and I find that you're never going to actually deal, especially because of mods. Really, like by the time all of the mod shields are gone, and you're just dealing with raw HP, in order to like you have to first stack the ability on them and then deal damage with your weapons,
Yeah.
and by that time they're probably already dead. Like the way that I found in practice anyway, and even just by watching the spotlight, I'm not gonna lie, is that the only way to get use out of the ability is to purposely and consciously not kill them with your weapons, just so that your ability can proc.
Yeah, I
But
saw that in
it
your
doesn't,
video.
like, why not just kill them instead? That's kind of my question, I guess. So what I would
Well,
say, and I understand why it doesn't bypass, why the effect doesn't bypass mod shields. Like if that's the way you
yeah.
want to go with it, then I guess that's fine. But what I would say is that currently what it is that regardless of the rank, you can stack up a maximum of 60,000 damage with your ability. But I think at very least it deserves more damage because of the, like, it's a rather significant time delay on the damage output from it.
Hmm. Well, as for the more damage than Onyx, we were afraid of bots that are like just shooting you and not missing, and you have like issues with the Onyx bots if they hit you in the back and you just instantly die, and you're like, well, what was that? And it
Well,
was from the other side of the map. So,
let's be real, when all the
uh,
bots are using Hemlock and Bastion and Surge and Solus, it's kind of the least of your problems.
maybe, but we didn't want to give it like so much damage, and the whole idea was that you have the Onyx, which like shoots straight, and you get your 60k damage, and you get the potential to deal far more damage with Silverthorn, but it requires a bit more, I know, skill and luck. Probably also the choice of the weapon matters a lot, because I played it
Yeah.
with disruptors, with spot guns, and probably my favorite was the Savant, the smart rockets. With these ones, you have a nice combination of the weapon damage and the ability damage to finish off the mech if you hit all the knives and all your shots. So, but yeah, probably we'll like get back to revising those numbers, because we played it like 10, 20 people, not like the thousands of them. So
Yeah.
let's see what the players say, and
I
probably
guess,
get
like,
back to it later.
yeah. My thought is, like, it works fine in theory, but it doesn't really, like, in practice. The ability is only really effective once the mods are gone, and at that point you're just dealing with raw HP.
Yeah.
Very little things have enough HP to survive that long to where you'd actually need that amount of extra damage. by the time,
I agree
because
with
it also
you,
requires
yeah.
you to stack up your own weapon damage on them first, and so they're taking damage, they're taking weapon damage, some amount. By the time 3.5 seconds are over, they're probably already dead.
Yeah, that's true, but probably it's more of a mods problem, not a Silver Thorns problem. So we're working on revising how the more mods work as well, and there are basically two directions in which I think we might end up going. Which the first one is their like accessibility, like not so many players in the game have them or have legendary ones or even maxed out legendary mods. And this is a problem because this is like a completely different game when you have mods and you don't have ones. It influences the weapon choice. It influences the way that we balance the weapons, like even from our side, from designers of content, because as we already told, like take Gemini, it's super effective when you don't have mods, but when you put them up, it's
Less
not
so, but
that
it still has a
useful.
really short cooldown, so it's
Yeah,
decent.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's okay, but less useful.
for sure, for sure.
And the second way is probably redesigning the gameplay aspects of the modules. I mean, the number of layers, probably, I think that we probably need to see what happens with the meta with the snipers category of weapons if we reduce the number of layers from 10 to, let's say, 3, I don't know, 4.
Yeah, maybe like 5 at most. The number of layers is definitely an issue. But I think another aspect is like the multi-layered shields, the concept behind them was to essentially be like an anti-sniper shield, right? To prevent you from being like 1 or 2 tapped or something like that, right? And that made sense to me. That made sense, especially given the egregious sniper meta at the time. The thing that I think I had the most problem with was the fact that the HP pool of each of those things was relatively similar, and the way that mods essentially balanced out all of the mech HP. Mechs mechs with less HP by default get mods that have more higher percentages, and mechs with higher HP get the opposite. So tanks become less tanky by comparison when you include mods.
Exactly.
And I think that, first off, that just shouldn't be the case. And second off, I think if you made multi-layered shields just by comparison to solid shields significantly lower in terms of like the percentage bonus that it gives. So it's like really easy to take it down with, let's say, minigun or overdrive or something like that. So like some of the shields do better against burst weapons.
Exactly, yeah. Let's say if you have a 10-layer shield, let it have like 1 HP or like 10 HP.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of the way that I was thinking about it. But less layers, I think, is an angle that a lot of people, would advocate for. Yeah, that was I was about to say, even in terms of like balancing how modules balance the max HP by categories, by I mean scouts, tanks, and so on. And again, this is just also a concept. It's just we're working on the concept. It's not that just for a reference. It's not that we're changing it tomorrow or changing it. I mean, this is like on the table. We're working on it, and we'll see. I think that the layer stuff or the balance in HP stuff might not come in the first iteration. Probably we'll see if we can go with, I know, more accessibility, probably like changes in prices or stuff like that to make them more accessible for the players. That's the first one. And as for the second one, yeah, I mean, we also thought that probably we don't need to make like scouts that tanky with the modules. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, this is one of the things that we're like thinking of right now as well. On the topic of accessibility, one of the major misgivings that I had was when the mods feature was restricted to only rank 6 stuff. I think I made like a whole stream tier list of Mech Arena updates, and that was the worst one. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't make sense, and I think it partially created the problem that you have, where you can't allow yourself to balance.
You're right.
You can't allow yourself to balance weapons for multi-layered shields because some people, most people don't even have access to them.
Most people even, yeah.
Exactly. And I think the major accessibility issue isn't in the cost. I think it's just in the fact that you need to upgrade a mech to rank 6 in order to use it.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
bringing it back to rank 3, would that be on the table? Like, is that something you probably do?
Yes. I think that one of the it's just a definite yes without any like
right.
going.
Bro, that's the absolute worst update. I've complained about that update for so long.
Well, if we come out with changing modules, this thing will definitely be there. I guess that everyone's agree on that. So I mean, currently when we're working on it, everyone's agree on that. So I think that it'll be coming.
On the other topic of potentially reducing the number of layers, the number of layers is specifically what makes Revoker OP. So by reducing the number of layers, you'd also, to a large extent, solve a lot of the Revoker problem.
Yeah,
so,
because some of the other weapons will also have a chance to compete with them, like the Ember Guns, for example.
Yeah, Ember Gun was actually, like, Revoker existed before mods existed, and I keep telling people this. I used it, and it was decent, but it was objectively, before mods existed, it was not as good as Ember Gun. It just wasn't. I guess essentially what I'm getting at is, like, if you're going to, because you're talking about also making not necessarily balance changes, but essentially balancing. I think probably what you should start with is the mods. It's probably what you should start with, because as soon as you change the weapons and then you change the mods, the weapons are going to have to be changed all over again. And I don't think there's much reason to try to balance out Revoker if the main thing that caused its meta is the multi-layered mod shields. I think that should probably take priority and at least give you a better idea of what you're working with. And
yeah, we'll see how it goes. I do hope that both of these changes will happen, let's say in the nearest like year. We'll see which one goes first. It's just not I mean, logically I agree with you, but it depends on lots of factors like the team size, capacity, stuff like that. So we'll just try to do it that way, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
Fair enough. So one thing I guess I would ask is, like, have you been able to, like, guess which mechs and weapons would be meta when you make them? Like, obviously some things you make for the purpose of competing with meta things, but some of them just happen to become meta. Like, do you usually see that coming, or is it usually something that just kind of happens? I guess, like, how do you gauge the performance of something before you release it? When you release it's basically GG. Like, if it happens to be weak, then it stays weak, essentially.
For now, yes, but hopefully this changes with the wide meta system in the seasons. Let's hope for that. As for have I guessed what's becoming meta, in most of the times, probably yes, but sometimes there happens things like you think that something is really cool, but in fact, like it doesn't get its attention from the players, or something that we think is like, oh, it's okay, but it actually becomes like really powerful. For example, I was putting all my bets on the healer, Salver. I guess it's called, yeah.
Yep.
I put so many efforts and added so many mechanics to make it like convenient to use it, to make it useful in the game. But in terms of like numbers, it didn't meet expectations. I mean, in terms of like how many players get it, how many players upgrade it, its MVP rates and stuff like that.
In practice, it's just not very practical because, again, like, a lot of things rely on mod shields. Once the mod shields are gone, extremely, like, you have very, very low survivability. So being able to regenerate that small HP pool is really not that valuable.
I think I didn't really think Dreadnought would be such a blast. Like, I see it will be
mostly
an
for SP
okay mech.
droppers.
Well, man, SP droppers is like, it's a real pain in the butt.
Well, it's all, I guess that's also partially because of the fact that, you know, lower SP people don't have access to mods at that rank. So if you added mods to that rank, then it'd be less of a problem too.
Exactly. Yeah, so there was also a tough process designing and playtesting the Dreadnought to make it like as we thought viable, consistent and good, but it turned out that it's like really devastating players in close quarters.
My personal view on most mechs is like, I mean, first and foremost, like raw damaging abilities don't usually provide a lot of value. Just raw damage is not really, it's not super practical, I've found. But Dreadnought's good though. Dreadnought's good mostly for the EMP effect.
Yeah. Most of the MP and of its potential to renew the cooldown if you actually happen to kill the player, and the speed boost and all of the things were added, like you know, the cakes that have multiple layers.
Yeah.
So it was something like that. We added more and more layer, and let's make it faster so that it can move, they can shoot and go back to safety. But then we added like the refresh and cooldown, and this going back to safety turned into like when you're with the red eyes trying to kill as many players as you can.
Yeah.
Which was pretty fun.
In actual attacker, it's actually aggressive.
Yeah. It's a bully.
In terms of like balancing, do you ever consider taking like feedback from content creators on like the test server for like balancing something after it releases?
Yes. Not so long ago, the question with the test server things, and probably even inviting the players, the content creators, moderators, I mean the experienced players on the stages before the production, it like appears more and more often in our minds, and I think that we don't have a solution right now, that's for sure. I can't say that or can't promise that it will be done, but what I do know is that this question starts raising more and more often, and I even have, like, let's say, a task to think of how it can be done, like to make a concept of this, let's say, feature, if we treat it like that. So let's imagine that when we like have the mechanic for the weapon that is ready, but it's not yet like have final, I don't know, 3D models or VFX or sound, or but on these stages we like invite players to play it, like closed beta test or stuff like that, and we actually like listen to their feedback and make some changes before the weapon release. This is what we'll probably think of in the nearest time, and we'll see if we like can come up with the solution that will satisfy both ends, like the meet the goals of creating more balanced weapons, mechs, and in the same time to meet like the production part, so that we can remake some processes for sure, because like, you know, right now you receive the builds in the time that when we can't make any changes, so we need to put it like from here to here somewhere. We'll see if we can do it, but yeah, this is something I would personally really like to happen, and I will try to push this idea, and I will think of how it will be done, and let's see if it can be approved and go.
So like the most obvious solution to me, and I'm sure you've thought of this too, is just making like an open test server. You know, just like an open test server weekend, for example, where it's like it's open for like maybe 6 hours on Saturday and Sundays, or something like that. And anybody can access it. Anybody can, you know, they can use all the stuff, and they can give their feedback on that. And you get like as many people as possible in there giving feedback.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That is one of the options.
Some mechs that you make are essentially like legendary versions of whatever. So I would say a lot of people typically like those, except they didn't really like Outlaw that much. I would say like the most common ones that people say that they want a legendary version of are like Tengu and Stalker. Are there ideas for that? Do you have any concepts for that? Do you think you'd make like a legendary version of Tengu, for example, like I think we talked about it last time, a legendary light mech?
As for the Tengu Stalker, I would just say no, we're not like planning to do it for now. First off, we would really like this one to stay really cool on those rare categories of Mechs on those lower rarities to just to be fun for the players. As for the legendary versions, I think that for the next probably year or even 2 years, we have so many cool ideas that we would really like to try and to realize to make them in the game. So we don't lack cool ideas to make legendary versions of Tengu right now. So we'll see probably later. But as for the legendary light mech, you mean the 16 energy capacity?
Yes.
Sometimes I also get back to this idea, and I had like something of a kind of an interesting tank that would not have that much HP, obviously, because he would be like pretty small, pretty weak on its appearance, pretty light, let's say. Well, with the really, really powerful ability, I know, to deflect damage or something like that, the Parasite has probably, like just to make him live longer. But I know why it's just always in the backlog. I just don't have any reasons for that. Probably someday we'll make something like that, but I wouldn't expect that in the nearest time. But
Not exactly
from
like
time to
a need
time,
for it.
yeah, from time to time, that comes to our mind to play with it. But I don't think that it will be in the next like year.
I don't know. I think my own personal take anyway, is that like a large part of balancing issues just come from like there's not a whole lot of factors that you can balance like outside of the ability. There's just like a couple random stats like
Yeah, HP,
HP
speed.
and speed, which like HP as we talked about doesn't really matter a whole lot. There's
Yeah,
out of the
with
top 5
existence
meta
of
mechs,
matter.
4 of them are scouts. Like let's just put it
Yeah.
that way. So HP doesn't matter a whole lot. And speed is important, but only if it has a lot, right? Like the difference between like 18 kph and 21 kph is like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
like you can't really balance something super easily in that way. So I don't know. Like my mind always got to firepower and just like the potential to have more maximum energy types as opposed to just the 24 and 32 that we currently have.
I mean, like 40 plus energy capacity.
Well, I mean, like that too. People have been theorizing about that, which I like. Is that a thing that you even think could happen, or probably not?
No. I would just say,
Okay.
yeah, it's not in our thoughts right now. Probably we're more focused on like stabilizing the situation with the meta modules, matchmaking stuff, more of like, calm down the players' pains a little bit, and then probably we'll go with more like Mythic Titans, 40 plus energy stuff.
Guys,
Mechs
okay,
and
but anyone watching this he is not saying that they're gonna add Titans. Just so he's giving examples of all the different like ideas that he's gonna.
Yeah.
Let's just calm it down right now.
Calm down.
No Titans.
But write in the comments what features would you like to see in Mech Arena.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I wasn't really talking about 40 energy. I was more thinking of like, like small tweaks. So like instead of 24, it could have 20. Instead of 32, it could have 28.
I mean,
yeah. So
thanks for the clarification, but I would say that like this is probably also might be coming only when we like finish with getting everything into its order as
right. Yeah, not a priority for sure.
Yeah.
But is it something that like you think that you probably could do eventually?
Let's say 50-50.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
More of it.
No idea.
No idea. Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks.
Well, one of the things that you did mention alongside Titans, which guys, he's not adding Titans, so, was was Mythic.
If you're already right in the comment about Titans stuff, delete it. We're not adding it.
Get him out of here. No, but one of the things that you also mentioned was like mythic, a grade rarity above legendary, which is another thing that,
Mhm.
everybody talks about. I think you said last time that it's like a possibly maybe that you might do it, but like,
I
what do you think about
think
that?
that it's possible because the game goes on. It's the like growing, evolving. We're like moving forward. So I think that sometime we will eventually come to this point when we will need to release the new rarity. I mean, it's pretty possible.
Can't
I
release
would
legendary
say,
stuff forever. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, just just yeah. And I was thinking of probably we don't have like any concepts or any stuff like that right now, but I would really think of the probably the first thing that I would like add to my mood board or Miro board where I'm like making some concepts is like having a passive ability or having even multiple abilities to that stuff. Because I don't think that they will be like mechs with arms or bigger mechs, or I mean, they will need
Right.
to differ in some way, and
It'll just be
probably they
slightly
will be
different.
like having that like passive, like deflect, auto heal. Like I don't know, we'll see.
When I heard about mods, that's what I kind of thought was gonna happen with at least some of them, was that they'd introduce
Mhm.
some type of like passive. People liked the Namor pilots as well, because like the passive buffs that they give. It's just nice
Yeah.
choices to have, you know. You can kind of optimize and personalize your builds a little bit more with that. I guess on the topic of like rarities, people are gonna ask, like they always ask, what's going on with the like rare mechs and weapons, or even epics, right? Like epics are rather accessible. So like, do you think you'd add more of those at any point?
Well, basically, you named all the points, and I don't even know what to add. I mean,
Hmm.
like we're not probably focused on stuff that's lower than legendary for quite some time already, and this is in our priorities for the next sometime. I don't know. I would say that personally, I would like to add some rare epic mech sometime in the game, just to like I don't know, just to
Fill out the gear hub a little more.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But for this, we first we need like to cover some more sensitive stuff for us. If we manage to do this all good, I would be really happy to get back to like just adding like a couple of rare epic mechs to the content shop.
It is something you think you'll
This
probably get
is
to at some point.
I yeah, I think that, and I mean, at least I would really, really love to do that if we have like enough time and capacity to do
Yeah.
this.
Well, no time soon because you have other priorities, but
Hmm.
okay. That's good to know because I know like a lot of people have been wanting some of those because I mean legendary stuff is not super accessible. The other thing, I guess, would be more pilots, right? Especially, I guess, rare pilots for I guess barrage and heavy duty are two
Hmm.
pretty common ones. But just like more pilots in general, people have been mentioning like the Namor pilots. They want more of those like limited edition special pilots that have unique passive abilities or whatever. I believe we touched on this last video, which was a while ago. I seem to recall you essentially just said like there wasn't really a need to add anymore. So, but what is that? Is that still the case or?
Yeah, first of all, this is still the case that we like have most of the things covered with the pilots. And secondly, the more we made them, the more we saw that they're like not meeting expectations in terms of the product. Like they're very expensive for us in the production. It takes long time, it takes
Mhm.
artists and stuff like that. And it didn't bring any of the value that we expected from it. And this
Sure.
is like the second and the practical part of this situation as well. So as you know, we stopped making pilots and we cut this part of the production stage, and we took these resources to create, let's say, more like interesting season hub thing and stuff that we think would be more cool. So yeah, these are basically the two reasons of why we currently stopped doing pilots. But
Mhm.
I probably would say that if we come up with some like interesting new categories of the weapon, we'll definitely find these resources to make pilots to that category.
Like, is there like maybe a potential idea that you might be sort of thinking of?
I would really love to be even like the heavy duty categories for me is more like of an experimental weapons category because of the like flamethrowers, those machine guns and stuff like that. But yeah, probably it would be something of that, like an experimental weapon category. I would really love to see probably like crossbow with different like darts and stuff like poisonous, explosive, freezing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I think pilots would be nicer, and like a lot of the reason that a lot of pilots don't really gain traction, I'd imagine, is because they're essentially carbon copies of each other, especially the legendary ones. The third legendary close quarters pilot is just as effective as the other two. It's the exact same thing, except with a different character associated. I guess, like, my thought is, like, have you considered making their stats slightly different? Like, small amounts of, like, maybe one specializes in slightly more damage, one specializes in slightly more HP, one is a bit more balanced. Like, for, let's say, the 3...
Yeah.
You don't have any
all-round
more than 3,
situations
but...
or more attacker stuff.
Yeah,
that's a nice idea. I was not too close to the production and release of pilots back in the days when they were made, so
enough.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that these ideas might have appeared back then, but since that time, I'll be honest, we'll never thought about it. So maybe if I don't know, if we would add some like new categories, or maybe we will some days decide to rework pilots, we'll come back to this point as well. But as for now, no, we haven't thought about it, and currently we don't have like plans to implement it because, as you know, we're not having plans for pilots as a whole. So
Fair enough.
maybe sometime later.
Well,
We didn't even have
that's about
any
it.
psychological damage this time, which is amazing, and I congratulate you with that. It
People
really
don't even
went
know about
like
that.
super smooth.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, there's a couple other things that I could ask, but like most of them are smaller questions, and you're running out of time.
I mean,
so
you can probably save them for the next time. I think that if the people like this one, this format, I'm up to meeting like more. It would be really nice to get like the other designers to talk about features as well.
There's a lot of things that you just can't answer. That it's
we've got a lot of stuff to do inside our like small content category as well. And as you can see, even a lot of stuff to fix inside that category. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, anybody in the comments, if you have additional questions that you think Pasha could answer, not about matchmaking,
about mechs and weapons, please. Yeah, put them down in the comments. Also, put down your like cool mech ideas, the ability ideas, weapons, what you think would work well. That would be interesting to read, because sometimes the guys from the community and support teams pass these ideas to us, and I'm always super excited to read that. Even if we already thought about it, it's still cool to know. You know that it was just like yesterday, probably. One player brought us an idea of a weapon that pushes back when you like shoot something like the sonic waves that we have, but the weapon that shoots and pushes back the enemy for like 10 meters, I know, each shot. And he even like put it that way, so it would be a counter to like Eclipse Reworker and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, that's nice. We have the like advantages listed. We have the mech idea and the weapon idea, the mechanic, and it was cool. The only thing with that is that, I mean, the way that the code is written, we don't have the technical possibility to make a pretty fast changing of the mech's position. This is why, unfortunately, I can't add the hook to the game, like the Overwatch's Roadhog. You know that like Scorpion and Mortal Kombat. Like every game has a hook. I want the hook, but I can't do it. For the same reason, unfortunately, I told that to this player that we can do this, but it's pretty. I mean, that's
Cool idea.
anyway. That's super cool when you get this idea. So
I'm
go
glad
ahead.
that you mentioned that, and I was pretty sure this was the case, and I was gonna ask if you didn't mention it. But I've been telling people like there's issues with quick like movement, and it's also the reason that I think
100%.
yeah. So someone, I think one of the content creators suggested like a mech that could dash more than twice. And that was the explanation that we got, was like especially quick movements in succession ends up creating a lot of like desync between games. So
Exactly. Yes,
yeah, it
kill
causes
shots,
some
no
pretty
mod
big
surges
problems.
is like the top that we have, and we try not to go even until this stage for now. So
Yeah. Do you think that would ever be addressed? Do you think that would ever be fixed to a degree where you potentially could add it, or not?
I won't lie, I think that it won't be. I can't even say fixed because it's not like it's the architecture on which the mech arena grew later. So if we would like to fix that, we'll need to go like to make
to rewrite everything,
literally
essentially,
different
yeah.
yeah, to rewrite everything. So
That makes sense.
unfortunately, it's not the case. So no hooks from arena, and I'm until I start crying, let's finish it, because I will just go to water closet and cry for half an hour. Psychological
Damage. Yeah, sorry. Well, I mean, so long as it's not
Thank
something
you
that
very much.
pushes yourself or enemies, leave your ability ideas in the comments, and Pasha will potentially take a look at them. Well,
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thanks
I
for having me.
appreciate you for your
Hope it
time.
was-
Take care.
Take care. Bye.